Top 7 foods to avoid that cause the risk of blood clots. Blood clotting is essential to our survival. Our bodies create clots as a natural response to bleeding, helping us recover from injury. However, when this mechanism becomes dysfunctional, it causes deep vein thrombosis, pulmonary embolism, heart attack, and stroke. The Centers for Disease Control estimate that up to 300,000 people die from blood clots each year in the US alone. The diet plays a crucial role. Today, we're diving into the 7 worst foods that increase the risk of dangerous blood clotting, as well as a few amazing foods that protect against this damage. Take note of these because they are a major ally for heart health. Stick around until the end. That will help you fight heart disease naturally. Remember to click the thumbs up and subscribe buttons to stay up to date with our latest videos. First up, you may have been told that artificial sweeteners are a healthy option, but this approach carries its own risk. A recent study published in 2023 in the journal Nature Medicine has raised concerns regarding artificial sweeteners, particularly erythritol. Erythritol is a sugar alcohol used as a low-calorie sweetener. Researchers delved into the health records of 3,000 individuals. What they found was striking. Those who consumed the most erythritol were nearly twice as likely to experience cardiovascular events, such as heart attacks and strokes, over 3 years. But the study didn't stop there. To understand how erythritol might be impacting the body, researchers conducted laboratory experiments. They exposed human platelets, the cells responsible for blood clotting, to erythritol and observed the response. Remarkably, the presence of erythritol made the platelets more sensitive to clotting signals. Other studies have found similar concerns with different artificial sweeteners, like a Harvard University study that linked aspartame to a higher risk of stroke, and acesulfame potassium to an increased risk of coronary artery disease. These risks are believed to be because these sweeteners may cause inflammation as well as damage the gut microbiome. We'll discuss another microbiome destroyer shortly, but first, we have processed meats. Processed meats, which include favorites like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, and deli meats, are linked to a variety of health concerns, including blood clots. First, these meats tend to contain poor-quality saturated fats, which can contribute to the buildup of plaque in arteries. As we'll discuss in a second, we're not saying all saturated fats or all meats are bad. But the ones found in processed meats tend to be of concern. Another issue is the presence of chemicals used in processing, such as nitrates and nitrites. These substances help preserve meat, but they transform into nitrosamines in the body, causing inflammation. It's also important to note that processed meats often contain high levels of advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, which are formed when these meats are cooked at high temperatures. AGEs cause oxidative stress in the body, contributing to the development of blood clots. As you may know, processed meats are linked to a number of other health concerns beyond blood clotting alone. According to research by the University of Oxford, every 50 grams of processed meat per day accounts for an 18% increased risk of coronary heart disease. Similarly, people who eat more processed meat have been shown to have a higher risk of colorectal cancer. Next, we have potentially the most insidious component of modern diets: refined carbohydrates. Refined carbs have become a staple of Western diets, largely thanks to the USDA food pyramid telling us to eat more of them. Bread, pasta, pastries, and cookies are made from grains that have been processed to remove the bran and germ, stripping away fiber, vitamins, and minerals. What's left is a fast-digesting carb that sends our blood sugar levels on a roller coaster ride. Refined grains also trigger a disastrous process called glycation, which we'll get to in a second. All of this causes chaos in our bloodstream and inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation is like the body's internal alarm system, but when it's constantly ringing, it can damage blood vessels, making them more susceptible to clots. Refined carbs are one of the worst offenders and one of the most commonly eaten foods, so cutting back on bread, pasta, and flour-based foods can make a big difference. Next, fast food poses a major risk, primarily due to the use of low-quality meats, toxic vegetables, and unhealthy cooking practices. These factors combine to create a dangerous environment. Firstly, the meat used in fast food is often of lower quality. When you eat that $2 burger, you're not getting premium grass-fed meat. What's the difference? Grass-fed meat contains short-chain fatty acids compared to meat from grain-fed animals. These shorter-chain fats are associated with reduced inflammation and a lower risk of heart disease. Grass-fed meats also contain significantly higher levels of vitamins and heart-friendly omega-3 fatty acids. On the other hand, Grain-fed meats have longer-chain fatty acids and a higher ratio of inflammatory omega-6. The meat conversation has been hijacked since most studies don't look at the quality of meat consumed. They simply compare meat eaters to non-meat eaters. However, the few studies that do look at the quality of meat have found surprising results. For more on that, you might like to watch our video on the surprising truth about red meat and heart attacks. We'll leave a link to that in the description box. With fast food, you're not only getting poor quality meat. These foods are also packed with preservatives and additives that cause inflammation, further exacerbating the risks. Additionally, there's the cooking method. Restaurants use cheap vegetable oils to cook their food and reuse it over and over again, creating an invisible but serious danger. Eating these exposes you to harmful compounds such as trans fats, which skyrocket the risk of blood clots, as well as toxic compounds like acrylamide and aldehydes, volatile compounds that form when unstable oil is heated and reused. These compounds are strongly associated with cancer and heart issues. Then there's 4-hydroxy-trans-2-nonenal, a particularly nasty compound that forms in omega-6 oils like sunflower and corn oil. This compound is associated with various health issues, including liver diseases, Alzheimer's, and other neurodegenerative diseases. Add to that the sauces, fries, and carb-heavy buns that come with fast foods, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Next, we have one that doesn't get so much attention but deserves a warning label. At number 3 we have canned soups and prepared meals. While convenient, these heavily processed meals hide a less savory truth. The culprit? Extremely high levels of sodium, toxic oils, and preservatives seriously impact blood pressure and clotting mechanisms. Salt is essential for our health, playing a critical role in nerve function and muscle contraction. However, the quantity of salt found in ultra-processed foods far exceeds what our bodies can handle. Surprisingly, it's not the salt we sprinkle from our shakers that's the main issue, it's the extreme levels concealed within processed foods. The American Heart Foundation highlights a startling statistic. Around 70% of sodium in our diets comes from these processed items, not from our salt shakers. This excessive salt consumption can have serious implications for our cardiovascular health. One of the main problems is that it impairs our endothelium, the inner lining of blood vessels. This dysfunction can lead to a range of problems, including an increased risk of infections and the formation of blood clots. Furthermore, elevated blood pressure from excessive sodium forces the heart to work harder, exacerbating the wear and tear on the cardiovascular system. The key takeaway is moderation. While we can't eliminate salt entirely, nor should we, being mindful of the hidden sodium in canned soups, ready meals, and other processed foods is crucial. At number 2, while studies show that a glass of red wine may reduce blood clotting, anything more than that can swing the pendulum the other way. This increased risk is largely due to the effects of alcohol on the liver and the gut microbiome. The liver is central in regulating blood clotting. It produces proteins that help the blood clot as well as substances that prevent clots from becoming too large. Excessive alcohol can damage liver cells, impairing this delicate balance. A compromised liver may produce an imbalance of clotting factors, leading to either an increased risk of clotting or excessive bleeding. Moreover, alcohol influences the gut microbiome, the complex community of bacteria in our intestines. These bacteria are key for digestion, immunity, mental health, and more, and are increasingly being recognized as one of the biggest factors for overall health. Once alcohol damages your gut microbiome, a cycle of worsening effects begins. Changes in gut bacteria can lead to the production of harmful substances that the liver would normally neutralize. However, in a liver damaged by alcohol, these substances accumulate, further accelerating problems. And at number 1, we have the root cause of many modern health problems: sugar. The key process to understand here is glycation, a reaction where sugar molecules attach to proteins in the blood, altering their function. Glycation plays a significant role in blood clot formation. When sugar binds to proteins in the blood, it causes these proteins to become stiff and malformed, increasing the tendency for blood clots. This process happens with any food that your body turns into glucose, whether it be table sugar, honey, or refined grains. Sodas and sugary drinks are particularly bad. It's easy to quickly consume a ton of sugar with these drinks, and they're immediately absorbed into your bloodstream. And, of course, artificially sweetened drinks aren't necessarily better. While these alternatives don't have the exact same effects, various studies show that they can mimic similar effects in the body, as well as introduce the extra risks we discussed earlier with artificial sweeteners. That's the bad news. Now let's look at a few amazing foods that can protect against these problems. Kiwi fruit contains a special compound called actinidin, which is believed to help break down unwanted proteins, including those surrounding blood clots. Herbs and spices, especially garlic and cayenne pepper, contain anticoagulant agents. They can be considered natural blood thinners that may prevent out-of-control clot formation. Cloves contain a potent antioxidant called eugenol, which helps to repair veins and improve blood circulation. And extra virgin olive oil has several polyphenol compounds that deliver various benefits for the entire cardiovascular system, including healthy blood clot function. We hope you found this useful. Click the like and subscribe buttons to see more on these topics. ChatGPT